fall of 2013, Gary Temple Bodley began channeling a group of non-physical teachers known as Joshua. Soon thereafter, Joshua asked Gary to start writing. They have since produced 4 books and answered hundreds of questions in written form. In the spring of 2016, on the Law of Attraction cruise, Gary underwent hypnosis and Joshua spoke through him for the first time. Since that time, Gary has been practicing channeling Joshua verbally in live weekly calls with one-on-one students. These Joshua calls are now available to those of you joining us on the leading edge of thought. This is the expansion of the Law of Attraction. This is Joshua Live. We're thrilled you're here.
We are thrilled to be here. Wow, it's bright in here. It's like the light. Can you see the light from wherever you are? Do you feel the light now? You feel how intense it is? Doesn't it feel like it's the intensity of being together on this ship? If you could just somehow bottle it in a bottle of joy and bring it with you wherever you wanted to go, and so that when you got home, things could be just as they are right now, or even better, or even more. How many of you are looking forward to getting home? How many of you would like to be on this boat for another week? How many of you would like to be on this boat for another month? We are here to tell you that after about 3 weeks, you would be bored out of your mind. The excitement is back home, where you can pursue whatever it is you're interested in pursuing, and you can receive more and more and more. You think that maybe here is paradise, and all your needs are taken care of, and there is no stress, and there is no worry, and this would be a great place to live forever. But we assure you that after a little while, you would find fault with everything here as well. You would focus on what you're missing at home, or what you could be doing elsewhere, or where else you'd like to travel, or there's too much sun. Gary has cousins who lived in the Emirates, and it never rained there. And so when they got to his house and it was pouring rain, they loved it because they had not seen rain in years. Just a difference of perspective. So the idea is to take the joy that you feel now, remember how it feels, and carry that with you towards whatever you are doing back home. Because back home is where the joy really is. Because you are a vibrational match to where you are at that time. And the minute you step foot back in your house, you will be back in joy. And your choice is to focus on the joy, the fun stuff, what you love about where you live, or to focus on the stuff that could be improved, that could be fixed up, that's not working for you. That's all this is. That's the only thing that's going on here. A perception of reality based in everything that's good, or a perception of reality based in everything that's wrong, or a mix of the two. If you can move towards the good side, the seeing what's good, what's positive, and leaving alone anything that's existing in right now as bad, then you just elevate your vibration, and you're just tending towards that which feels better to you. And as you do that, you stay more in what Abraham calls the vortex. Right? The vortex is just this area that feels good. So you can step into this area that feels good, and you can maintain it. And sometimes you'll slide out of it, and you'll feel negative emotion. And that's just your indication that you're focused on something that causes you to slide out of your vortex. But you can step right back in. How do you do that? You focus on the higher perspective. What's right? How is things going right? That's all there is to it. It's the easiest thing in the world. There is nothing difficult about it, except that we're used to being over here. We're used to being over here. Do you want me to be over here, Johnny?
I thought this was at 2:30.
Come right in. We will make space. Sam and Diane,
started.
welcome. You came at the perfect time.
We did?
Yes.
Okay.
You just walked right into the vortex. 2:30. Is it 2:30? Is it 2? Who knows?
What is time?
What is time? It doesn't matter. So, before we go on with anything else, we want to take questions from the audience. Does anyone have a question?
Oh.
Oh. Perfect timing.
Fancy meeting you here.
Fancy meeting you here.
I would like to, I've been thinking a lot about exactly what you just talked about, how to stay in joy when I get back home, because except for the last Joshua Live that day, have been in the vortex this entire time, and I'm having all of these incredible experiences. I'm attracting people that are a match to me and nobody else. I notice that when I go and I sit down to smoke a cigarette on a full smoking deck, I'll look up and there's nobody at my table, nobody at tables on either side of me. And occasionally somebody will come in and sit down, and then I have these conversations, and they're right on my level. Enjoy right there with me and giving me these little nuggets that I'm going to take and I'm going to remember forever and use. I do that at home. Time. How do I let go of time at home where it feels like there are all these time restraints?
So imagine this. Imagine that this is the vortex where you're feeling good.
Yes.
And in here, you don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
They just come to you. Mm-hmm. They are a match to how you're feeling in this vortex of feeling good.
Right.
You don't have to do anything or change anything about yourself. You just present in the moment, feeling good, appreciating what's going on, being grateful for what you've existed through in the past, being grateful. And so what you're doing now is being in a state of non-resistance. Because from your perception of this reality, nothing is wrong. Mm-hmm. Everything's going right. Mm-hmm. So everything's easy. So you're not thinking about the things that could go wrong or what's bad or anything. And you're now focusing on what we've been talking about all these months, right? And now you're applying them because there's no resistance. Mm. And as you see yourself going through this environment, non-resistance, everything works out for you. Mm-hmm. Everything works out for you. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to worry about. So why can't you take that home?
I know it's in my head. I know it's all self-imposed, but I feel like that's not true. I was going to say here, I feel like there aren't any demands being placed on me, or other people aren't expecting things of me, but they may be, and I'm able to just separate myself from that.
Well, so for instance, we expected you to be here today. We expected you to be able to put the microphone on people,
right,
and to help set up. And you were. And that was a demand placed on you, right? Mm-hmm. But by who? Who was the demand placed on? By us? Did we ever say anything?
No.
By what you wanted to do.
Right.
You wanted to be here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So if you're only doing that which you want to do, if you can design your life to only do that what you want to do, then every moment can be like this.
So then it isn't, because I feel like so my kids are an example. There are a lot of things that I guess it's hard.
It's just resistance.
Right.
Anything that's hard is resistance. Right?
I was going to say it's hard to even finish that thought, because I know that even with them, I only have to do things that I want to do. And if I remember what I ultimately want, which is to have happy, healthy children, everything falls in line with that.
What you truly want is to have happy, healthy children and express your love and acceptance of them.
Right.
That's all. So if you can remember that, no matter what's happening, then that will lead you into every decision that you ever need to make. Right? And they chose you as their mother. We know why that is. They chose their father as their father. We know why that is. Mm-hmm. We know why they spent half the time with you and half the time with him. We know why that is. Mm-hmm. Never before in the history of humanity has this ever existed before, this dynamic, nor will it ever exist again. Mm-hmm. And you get to play a part in that.
Right.
How exciting. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
Yeah. So now you only have resistance towards that or acceptance towards that based on how you feel about it in the moment. Whether you think that this is looking how it should look, or this is looking differently than how it should look. Mm-hmm. So if it looked how it looks, or it looked how you think it should look, then that's non-resistant.
Right.
If you think it should be different, then that's resistance.
Okay.
Right? And then if you can say, I see it's resistance, I feel the negative emotion, I'm looking at it from a perspective that's limited, I need to see how it's right, how the older one's beating up the younger one is perfectly right, because you can't see where they'll be in 18 years old,
right,
or 22 years old, or 4 years old. Mm-hmm. So if you know that it's happening and all you want to do is be non-resistant in the moment, as long as they're not using knives, right, or as long as they're not getting too older and putting each other in the hospital, then everything's fine.
Okay.
Right? What else do you have? We know you have more.
I do have more.
Let's go.
So like I said, I've been in joy, and I've been having conversations with all these people that have been, anytime I've started to get out of the vortex, somebody has shown up and given me like exactly what I needed in that moment. So there was a kid who told me I was starting to worry about things. I'd manifested exactly what I wanted. One of the things that I wanted, what I'd been talking about with my friends all day, and it showed up for me. And then I started having fear about other people or just different things. And this kid just shows up and says, hey, no worries. That got me back in the vortex. And so through this series of events, I ended up in my bathroom getting ready to come meet everybody for dinner, looking at you, basically the group of non-physical entities, and communicating. And it felt in that moment like it was not like it was separate from me, but I was asking, who are you? I was wanting a name. They gave me the name of the woman from Facebook's that was given to her. But that was a couple days ago, it doesn't feel separate from me anymore. I don't know why I'm crying again. But it's hard for me when I'm talking. I feel kind of like a crazy person, when I say we instead of I, but I don't feel like Gary and Joshua, that works for Gary, and that is, I don't know how to feel comfortable.
And or
when I'm thinking about it, when I'm talking about it, when I'm just doing it, then I feel comfortable. When I'm just...
When there's no resistance,
right,
then there's no resistance. And you can just be whatever it is.
Right.
You don't have to put labels on it. You don't have to call it names. You can call it Kyla. It doesn't matter. For Gary, it works calling it Joshua.
Right.
Okay. Gary reaches a place of intensity, of focus, and is able to tap into the vibration of what we're talking about.
Right.
Right? He has it with him always. Right? But for him, it works. We were talking about it earlier today, that he can be Gary, the separate personality,
right,
and he can bring us forth, and then he can speak clearly, concisely, without anything that he says.
Right.
Right? Because he is completely tapped into the zone of Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For him, it's a non-physical entity
right,
that is available to everyone. And it comes through him, through his personality, in the form that it does.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's more talk of specifics, of actual things you can do to change your life. Uh-huh. He's more interested in seeing change, in seeing the results, in being less general and more specific, even though that attracts a more leading edge group of people. That's fine, because the results are satisfying that way. Right? And being able to stick with people through a one-on-one conversation over months and months and months, rather than just having someone ask a question and it be gone, right? And asking a question and be gone. Now he's able to develop this relationship with people, and through the conversation with us, see the actual changes in people, which is what he personally finds satisfying. So it doesn't need to be any bigger than this. It could be bigger, but for right now, what he's interested is in this dynamic of this ongoing relationship. For you, it could be anything. It could be talking to kids. It could be doing anything you want. But you're in step 75, right? Instead of step 1. And what's step 1?
Do what feels good.
Step 1 is sitting at the table having a cigarette and seeing who comes by.
Yeah.
And then having the conversation with that person.
Right.
And then not making it into this whole thing until the next thing presents itself. And then the next thing will present itself. And that's, as you said, as you brought up, as we have never said before, that's another step 1. So there's step 1, the thing that you can do right in front of yourself. And then when you get to that step, then there's not step 2, there's step 1. And it's always step 1, step 1, step 1, step 1. And the only trouble that anyone has is when they go 50 steps ahead.
Right. I'm coming back faster and faster. I'll start to judge myself or judge the step 1 that I get. So the step 1 that I got after all this happened was right. Gary got type. I got right. I judged it as wrong.
Did you get W-R-I-T-E, W-R-I-T-E, or did you get R-I-G-H-T, R-I-G-H-T, R-I-G-H-T?
I thought it was W-R-I-T-E.
Maybe it is.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe it's both. Isn't it funny?
That is funny. But to me it was...
Well, let us say it's right. Which means there is no wrong. But any way you do it is how you do it.
So I started to judge myself. I realized that I was shutting it down and made the choice to do something differently, like to choose a different step one in that moment. And I gave myself grace for that. I didn't sit down and write like I was feeling inspired to do. And it all turned out okay because at the beach, I stayed by myself. Everybody else was worried about me. I knew that
None of us were worried about you. They were, none of us.
Right.
They weren't worried about you.
Okay.
They knew what was going to happen.
Okay. So I started writing, and recently, I used to write when I was younger. Recently, I've been talking to myself or talking to people, and...
Which is talking to yourself.
Right. What I said is my mouth moves too fast for my hand. It's harder for me to get the words on paper, so I don't write. Another thing is I judge myself. I self-edit. I judge the way the words look on the page. And at the beach, when I was so in the flow, I just started writing whatever popped in my head, wherever it landed on the page. I tried to write something, and I didn't like the way the letters looked, so it ended up being turned into a picture. And I don't draw, really. And so I looked at it, and for the first time in my life, instead of looking at that and seeing just a mess on a page, I thought that's so beautifully disorganized, which is like me, which is so funny because a couple weeks ago you were asking, I was in the vortex then, but you asked if you had to change one thing about yourself, what would it be? And so I focused on what I would change, and it was this organization is what I brought. So that's the bounce back. I used to realize I was judging myself for being disorganized, and then eventually I would realize that I was judging myself, and I would soothe myself. And now it's just happening lightning quick. I don't know.
Because without you being disorganized, you would be focused. And the focusing is limiting. Because being disorganized means you can go with a lot of different ideas, which means that you have the freedom to try this and try this and try this.
Right.
Being focused means that you think you should stick to one thing and do it perfectly. And if it's not perfect, that means something about you.
Right.
Being disorganized means that you are not attached to anything. You're not attached to your apartment. You're not attached to what's on the wall. You're not attached to any of these things. And you can go with the flow and find it on your own. And then when you find the passion of it, and then you start self-editing, if you allow yourself to just go with whatever comes out, and then trust in that, and trust that that will develop, you don't have to be Picasso the first day.
Right. Is there anything, so when I'm talking to people and having these conversations, it's flowing through me, it's hard to finish the question. So what I was going to ask is, are there things that people aren't ready to know yet? Because I feel like I'm knowing things, and...
Yes, there's things that most people aren't ready to know.
Well,
that's why most people aren't in this room. But those who are attracted to you are ready to know whatever you have to say.
Okay.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the room with you.
So when somebody asks you...
They have to be a vibrational match to you.
So when somebody asks you something specific about their future, even if you have details, you don't give them, necessarily.
If they are going to believe what you say about their future, it's going to alter their present.
Right. So is that something that I shouldn't say?
You can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
But when we are asked about a future event,
right,
can you imagine the possibilities of a future event and how that has to unfold?
Right.
And then if we say something, we just put a fork in it. And that changes their life right there.
Right.
They don't get to evolve as they would naturally evolve.
Right.
Now, listening to us talk up here changes some limiting beliefs that people have, right? And that allows them on their own to raise their vibration and decide where they want to go next and take that next step. Seeing you receiving higher consciousness, which is available to all of you, and all of you receive it to some degree, it's a natural part of being physical. It's never meant for you to think you were alone. There is no such thing as being alone in the non-physical.
Right.
There's no such thing as being alone here. You have your millions, and you're able to tap into them anytime you want. Now you're doing that. Right? And that infinite intelligence is coming through you. But there's a filter of fear in there, right? And you're not sure how to express it.
Yeah.
But you think that you have to know everything right away.
Right.
Instead of practicing and playing with it.
Yeah.
Gary could type out 3 pages in a day, but that took 6 months to get to the first 3 pages.
Right.
And then 3 pages the next day. And then answer a question.
So what I realize is that I've been doing it, the same thing, and I just realized that it wasn't me. And I've said that before, but I'm knowing.
What do you mean it's not you?
That it's not just Kyla.
What do you mean?
Okay.
How is it not Kyla? It is Kyla. You were asking to answer questions before this even happened.
That's true.
It's all Kyla. It's all your destiny coming forward through what you truly wanted prior to your birth. And here it is. And so all you are doing is trying to reconcile your previous life to where you are now and how you love the Big Bang.
Yeah.
And you're getting the Big Bang.
Right.
As opposed to everyone else getting a subtle little...
Yeah, because what I realize is I've always been doing this. Always. When I used to go to the coffee shop when I was living with my parents and my mom would watch the boys and I'd go to the coffee shop, bring Joshua stuff or whatever I thought I was going to be working on, and then I would get into a 6-hour-long conversation with somebody that I didn't know, or somebody's. That was the first time I practiced talking about Joshua stuff in a normal people setting, just out loud to anybody who would listen. I was doing the same thing that I'm doing now. I was doing the same thing that Gary's doing. And I'm seeing it in everybody. When you just get on a roll, then you're talking to me, I'm seeing what I'm doing. I don't know. I guess.
And it's true of anyone with any passion.
Right.
If you are passionate about anything, healing, whatever it happens to be, coaching, whatever it happens to be, you are flowing that information through you, and you are saying things you can't believe that you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, man, I'm good.
Yeah.
And people are saying, wow.
Yeah.
To you.
Yeah.
Right? And is it fun?
It's so much fun.
So why are you crying?
I'm not anymore.
There you go.
All right.
What else?
I don't know.
All right. Is that good?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Who's next in the hot seat? No, I'm not doing it.
Oh, true.
Come on, Drew.
Gary's good at giving nudges.
I didn't think I had any questions. Thank you. Because they all get answered when I listen to everybody else.
That means you should ask first.
No. Okay.
Or second.
Or second. All right. All right. So I wrote a few things down this morning. Okay. First question. Were you Gary's spiritual guides all along, and he recognized that it was you speaking and not just his own thoughts? Or when did you realize it wasn't just something in your head?
Gary had access to this information his whole life, but he had to go through a series of events to lead him to the belief that this was possible, that this was not abnormal, that anyone could do it. And that started when he was a child, and he had to go through everything he went through to get to this point in time. So at age 50 was the perfect point in time for him. It could not have happened any other way. Had the financial collapse not happened, had he not lost everything, had he not been seeking something, had Deborah Jo not brought the secret, had they not found Abraham, had they not gone to the Abraham seminars, had they not found their passions, Lily and Gary, had they not started meditating when they were urging to meditate, had they resisted any of that along the way, then this would not have happened. So it went from a simple process of removing the distractions of the outside, creating a desire for something healing, but at the time they thought it was financially healing, getting back to where they were, allowing something new, like the secret, to come through, thinking the secret was the secret to wealth, and then looking for something else, and finding the Abraham in their own library that they had heard years before. They had listened to the same CD years before. They had liked it, but it didn't resonate with them because their vibration had not raised high enough. So when the vibration was risen through the secret, through listening to Ask and Is Given, through going to seminar after seminar after seminar, through going to the land cruise and spending time with all his people, to Gary having conversations with people on the land cruise, doing what he's doing now, but in a conversation to someone, not knowing how it's coming out, little snippets, to meditating, to getting the feeling, to conversing with the feeling, and then to taking the action that was inspired. And then to get over the weirdness of it all. For him to be a normal person, but yet be this weird performer that comes up here and speaks as though he's speaking for millions. So everything has to happen for someone to find their passion, even though they don't know what their passion is. They may think they know, but not until they get there do they really know. And so Gary's gotten to this point 3.5 years later where this is happening, where this is a passion, where this is exciting and fun, with being with this group could never have happened before, with the joy of this week could never have happened before, with all the books and all the questions and the websites and the one-on-ones and the potential for the future, being in this arena, believing that one day that this will be filled with people, but not taking it too far. What's the next step? The next step is being with you and seeing how this goes and getting comfortable with this feeling and seeing if people enjoy it, seeing if there's anything here of any benefit to anyone. And then tomorrow's the next step, and it's the next step one, and it's starting all over again. So tomorrow will be the perfect place, and then you'll say, what happens next?
So going in and out of it until you get to these different levels.
Going with the flow of it. So not thinking about tomorrow, just thinking about what are we doing today? What's happening today?
Okay. The technology that is being discussed in today's world is that if we can last another 10 years, there's an opportunity to live 100 or more years. My question is, why would we want to if the joy would be in being a non-entity again?
Before Gary came, he turned on a song. The lyric to the song was, I don't want to live forever. What I want to do is be able to live today. You are alive today. Live today. Most people don't live today. Who cares about tomorrow? Tomorrow is another day. So don't worry about living long. Worry about being alive and thinking about being alive in this moment, because all that is an illusion. All we're doing is being here now. And some of us are thinking about the future 50 years from now, 1,000,000 years from now. Some of you might be thinking about the past, what they could have done differently, what went wrong, but it doesn't matter because we're all here now in this moment, and this moment is going to turn into the next moment, and it's still going to be this moment.
So I guess
So rather than wanting to live forever...
But why would you want to if it's
why would you want to?
Yeah, more joy to be in a non-entity.
So here you are in physical reality, and we'll explain this. You exist in non-physical reality. You see this playground here. You say, wouldn't it be fun to come here? You choose the time and date of your birth. You choose your parents. And you choose to experience many general things such as love, joy, happiness, freedom, abundance. And then you might say to yourself, I want to experience this idea of love in a relationship with, say, a large family and how that dynamic works. Or I want to experience abundance through poverty. Or I want to experience well-being through illness. Or I want to experience freedom through incarceration. That sort of thing. And so you go forth and you set the trajectory and you get to experience that in nuances that you never did before. And once you've experienced it, you unlock it. And so from there, you can turn the poverty into abundance. You can turn the illness into well-being. You can turn your life into whatever you choose based on the desires that you create in this lifetime. And if you don't allow it to fulfill itself in this lifetime, then you'll have it in the non-physical, and you can play with it more there. So all this is like going to Disney World, buying your ticket, being allowed to ride any ride that everyone else gets to ride, being as worthy to ride any ride. And maybe some rides are scary, so don't go on those rides. And maybe some rides are silly, and you like those rides, so go on those rides often, as much as you want. But it's all there available for you. And none of it is wrong. It's all from your perspective, what you choose to like. So living in this moment is the only thing that matters. And it can be today, and tomorrow you be a non-physical. That's up to you, but you can come back again. And so you start out as a child, and you have a perspective of the world from that vantage point, and now you're 20, and you have a perspective of the world from that vantage point, And all of a sudden you're 30 and you have a new perspective, and 50, a new perspective, and 80, a new perspective, and then you're just like, all right, let's go back again. Who cares? It's not important.
All right. Are there other galaxies in which non-physical entities inhabit a life form similar to our planet?
You are matched to Earth. When you are non-physical, you will be focused on Earth. You have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, to explore whatever you want to explore, but the essence of who you are, your inner self, your higher self, is a match to the Earth. There is a law of continuity. When you are alive here, you are interested in certain things. When you transfer to non-physical, you will be interested in the same things, the same people, what's going on. You might be interested in the city that you're living in now, the country you're living in now, the politics. It might be all fascinating to you. So you are matched to this Earth. And while anything is possible, you like to stick around here.
Okay, but are there other galaxies where there's something similar to what we are doing here?
There's nothing similar to this, and there's nothing similar to you. You are unique. This is unique. There's nothing. There's nothing. This chair is unique, and that chair is unique. Nothing is the same. Nothing is even similar.
Okay, maybe
there's
similar
different,
is the wrong word. Is there another galaxy, let's say, that has non-entities and physical beings, whatever they might be? Okay, so there.
In an infinite universe.
But we have nothing to do with them because we are focused here.
We are focused here.
Got it. Okay. This is why in my own home am I surrounded by clutter? It's like I can't seem to get it all put away and stay away. It's like there always seems to be clutter.
And why is that?
I don't know.
Because that's how you like it.
It doesn't feel like I like it.
Well, you're judging yourself is all you're doing, right?
I'm judging the feeling I get from having clutter. It seems like I can't, especially in my office, I can't seem to get everything put away where it's nice and neat.
You are focused on that which is interesting to you, right? So you are more interested in doing the things that you're interested in doing. And you are less interested in organization, filing things away, keeping things neat and clean. You much rather do what you want to do, right? So there's certain aspects of your day that you like doing. And then by the time you get to having to look at this clutter and judging it as a bad thing, it's like, I'd rather just be doing what I want to do.
Right.
It's not that important to me. If it was important to me, Gary's wife, Lily, is a perfect example. She loves everything being organized and perfect. Perfection is what she likes. And so she loves making sure everything's perfect. So she's always straightening up. It took her all of her life until maybe 3 years ago not to make the bed every day, to save that half an hour or whatever it took. And so now she allows herself to leave the bed unmade. It's still tidy, it's just not made with all the pillows. If a handyman's coming over to fix the faucet, it's made, right? But otherwise, she can leave that alone and then go on with what she really wants to do. Because for her, that aspect of keeping things tidy is part of her persona. And she believes she'll be judged based on the cleanliness and organization of the house. She believes that that shows that she's a good person. And for it not to be clean, it shows that she's a bad person, or she's not as good as she should be. So she is tying in the cleanliness of the house towards her, who she feels she is as a person. When who she is as a person is a limitless being of pure positive love and acceptance. And it has nothing to do with the clutter or anything. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's just a judgment on herself. So she feels better about herself with everything tidy. You might feel better about yourself if everything was tidy, but you're not interested in that, and you're not thinking that that makes a big impact on who you are. You can be okay with it being cluttered.
Right.
You would prefer to be doing the things that you like to do.
I prefer to do what I'm doing, and it feels like there's a limit of time that I can only do what I want to do and not do.
You should only do what you want to do.
Everything's clean, but it's the clutter makes my mind feel like my mind is cluttered, and that's what bothers me about it.
Okay. So what is your choice? Your choice is to change the conditions by cleaning up, or to change how you feel about that condition so that you feel okay with it. If you feel negative emotion about the clutter, your inner self does not feel negative emotion because your inner self says, hey, let's just do what we want to do. Let's just have fun doing what we want to do. And let's not worry too much about the clutter. But you're worrying about the clutter because you think something about it, whether it reflects upon you or it's you don't like the look of it or whatever it is. You're judging it as wrong, where your inner self is judging it as fine. So your choice is clean it up and feel good, or feel good anyway, despite it.
Okay.
That's the truth of anything. That's the truth of anything.
Feel
now,
good regardless.
you can clean up the clutter, but you can't clean up anyone else. And you can't say, well, I wish this person was just a little bit different. You could say, I wish my house was a little bit different and paint a wall, and that's fine. But you're going to run into an obstacle if you think that you can change someone else. And so we say, don't change the conditions, change how you feel about the conditions. And then if you change how you feel about that clutter, you'll find yourself inspired to either hire someone to clean it up, right, which you can certainly do, or do it yourself. Some kind of inspiration to solve, not to solve this problem, but to make what you want happen. Okay? So instead of saying the clutter is wrong, you think, I'm inspired to organization. And so let me allow a thought to come to me that is in line with what I want, not with what I don't want. Because you think the only way to clean up the clutter now is to waste your time taking it away from what you want to do and having to do that. And you're not allowing what the obvious solution is to let someone else do it.
Oh, I had somebody else doing it.
And what happened?
Well, they worked for me for several years, and they kept things in great condition, and then they decided they'd rather be a florist, and I never got anyone else to take their place. So.
And now maybe you're getting inspired to get someone else. Yeah, excellent.
Okay, one last question, and it's about investing. So I've heard on some of the podcasts or the round tables about Bitcoin, et cetera, but with gold, silver, junior mining stocks, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, what is one versus the other? Is any better than the other, or they're all good, or they're all what I create them to be, or what?
Okay. None of that makes any difference.
Okay.
What do you want? You want a return on your investment.
I like the challenge, I guess, just like playing cards.
The challenge? Okay. So you like the challenge. That means that you're going to like the lusts. You're going to like that aspect of risk, right? Is that what you really want?
No, I want a return on the risk.
You want a return, right? So think about what you want is that return. All right. Now, of those things, what's interesting to you?
All of them.
Okay, so why is gold more interesting than IBM stock to you, specifically, not to anyone else?
To me, gold is money, and it's a form of money that
can be used anytime, anywhere, has value.
Is stock,
Right, and stock is based on what? What anyone thinks it's worth.
Management of a company, what someone else thinks it's worth.
And what's gold based on to you?
To me, it's
tangible, it's real, you can trade it with anyone.
Universally accepted.
Universally accepted, right? But are they making more gold or not?
They're mining it slowly.
Right. So, and is there a lot of gold out there?
And it's a finite amount.
Well, there's a lot of gold out there.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone you know owns some gold.
Not true.
Almost everyone you know owns some gold.
Almost nobody I know owns gold.
You have gold earrings on.
Yes.
Okay? Almost everyone you know has gold earrings.
Okay.
Or knows someone who has gold earrings.
Yeah.
Or silver, right? It's universally. Okay? Yeah. So think about the supply and demand of something that's universal. The way it goes up in value is more people are attracted to it, which means more people are born and get it and want it, right? So the way the gold goes up in value is that more people want it for whatever reason, whether it's to be used as a jewelry or as a store of wealth. Something like Bitcoin that's new, there's almost nobody has it. And as that gets more popular, more people will want it. and therefore the value will go up more. Of course, it's also way more risky. True, right? You have an ounce of gold. Well, an ounce of gold can fluctuate, but it can't disappear, right? And that could disappear.
Good.
Right? Yeah.
Good. That's the unknown. Yeah.
Right, that's the unknown.
It's very
and
new.
all that stuff.
Right.
So whatever is interesting to you and fun, that's what we would say, do it. Whatever you feel good about, whatever you like personally. If you liked IBM, thought it was the best company in the world, you might go into that. And then you could follow it, and you could read articles about it, and you can look at it. And if you like touching gold and buying more gold and having it in your house or wherever it is, or in a safe deposit box, you can do that. Yeah. So always do what's most interesting to you and forget about what everyone else says.
Okay.
No.
Have fun. Have fun, right? Thank you.
By the way, Joshua, thank you for the Ethereum tip. On that podcast, I heard buy Ethereum. Everybody else heard buy Bitcoin. And it was at 15. I waited till it got to 12, which was my lucky number. And then right before we left, it was 49.
It was 48 this morning, it was 52 yesterday.
Awesome.
And
So thank you, Joshua.
Asher, would you like to ask a question? Huh?
I didn't.
Thank you for being brave.
I always am.
I know. We appreciate that.
Should I take the scarf off? It's okay. Okay, so when did you mind if I tell them about, the first 2 days? Okay, so the first 2 days on the cruise, that was pretty bad for me. I couldn't get in the zone. I felt like I just wanted to go back home. I didn't fit into the group. I felt like I had no reason to be here. And yeah, I felt like an outsider. And I recognized the feelings because I've had those issues for a long time. And I just couldn't figure out a way to sort of get back to feeling good. And for some reason, Wendy was inspired to talk to me. And
how could that happen?
Yeah.
What are the chances?
Oh, you keep saying that. Yeah, so we had a talk and everything. I felt valued. I felt that I was seen. And I felt that my feelings, that feeling bad sometimes, that's okay. It's okay not to feel good all the time. There's nothing wrong in feeling bad. You're not a bad person just because you feel bad. So that was, I guess, like half an hour or something, and everything resolved. I started climbing back up, and yeah, it's been really good after that. And it's just, I was thinking about why I felt bad, but then I thought, yeah, these old issues, they don't really matter, because if I hadn't felt bad, I wouldn't have had this conversation with Wendy. And I felt that there was a block between me and Wendy before the cruise, and now she's one of my favorites. And it's like, if I hadn't needed that conversation, there would have still been that block. So yeah, I guess I like contrast.
So look at this cruise as a microcosm of your life.
Okay.
That you go into a situation that's new, you feel a little wobble in your vibration, a little resistance. You perceive things as they are not, as the illusion. That you, of all people, is the outsider, when you, of all people, is the insider. You are the core of the group. Right?
My universe.
And our universe.
Yeah.
You are the core of this group, right? But you are on this path of trying to figure out the illusion, trying to see through the illusion. So the illusion that you had was that you were an outsider. No one here thought you were an outsider. Everyone here thought you were the main attraction. Everyone here thinks you're famous. Everyone here listens to you.
Why are you guys laughing?
Because it's true.
I think she's magnificent.
Right. Everyone here thinks you're magnificent, and everyone here loves you. But the illusion is, which is a valid illusion, is that you're an outsider. You shouldn't be here. You're not, you're not part of the group. That's the illusion. So that's the illusion that you have in all kinds of circumstances. So the idea is to take this cruise as this proof that there was an illusion, and infinite intelligence flowed through Wendy to pierce the fogginess of that illusion. And now, once you saw through the illusion, you felt better. And once you feel better, then you're no longer having seasickness, and you're enjoying having fun with the group, and you're up here talking and sharing your wisdom with everyone else, and you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Right? And then you go home, and then you can remember what happened on this cruise. That you had this illusion, but the illusion is false.
Yeah. And I also noticed that because my go-to feelings, like some people feel love or some people feel joy, and my go-to feelings, that's peace and power. And so you said that my path or job in this lifetime was going through the fear, right? Or facing the fear. So I noticed that feeling the fear and then overcoming it or just doing it anyways, that's when I feel powerful. So if I hadn't had that intense fear, then I wouldn't feel my power as much as I feel it.
Exactly. And you will always feel the fear as you move up different levels of awareness. So there's always new fear to uncover. Yeah. And what we've said for years is exhilaration is that feeling you get when you break through fear. The power that you feel is the feeling that you get when you overcome fear. And to some people, there's a lot of fears that seem really hard to get through. But they're all sort of the same kind of thing, you know. It doesn't matter what the fear is, it's that realizing the fear is irrational and moving through it anyway. And allowing Wendy to speak to you and then hearing her and feeling that you were seen. Yeah. And it couldn't happen from a better person because this is her journey, is to make others feel seen.
Oh, cool.
So you believed it too from Wendy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it had come from someone else, you might have said, well, they're just trying to be nice to me or whatever.
Yeah, because people were telling me for days that, oh, yeah, you're so wonderful, whatever. Like all these, and it's just words. There's nothing going in.
To you, it's just words, right.
Yeah.
Because you look at the source and you judge the source as this source is just trying to make me feel good because they're a nice person, but this source is authentic. And they're not just trying to make me feel nice. This is what they believe. Yeah. Because you know Wendy. And you could feel that love and authenticity come from her.
Yeah. So, and also, I guess, since I'm asking for like the 100th time, I guess you're not going to tell me my superpower?
Your superpower is visibility.
As in?
Not invisibility.
That's not a superpower. Okay, could you expand on that answer, please?
When you become visible, that is your power.
What's the point in being visible? Everyone's visible. Well,
some people would like to be invisible. You would like to be visible. Have you ever heard of superheroes who are invisible?
No.
Doesn't Wonder Woman have an invisible plane? Isn't that a superpower?
I don't know. I'm not interested in other superheroes.
Well, for you, your superpower is visibility. Allowing yourself to be seen. Allowing yourself to be okay with being seen. Believing that you have purpose of being seen, that what you have to offer is worthy of being seen.
Yeah, maybe you could think of a better answer till next time.
We will work on it.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll work on it.
Okay. I think I'm done. Am I done?
No.
Okay. Am I done here right now?
No.
Okay. Okay, maybe Kyla. Yeah. I don't always like Kyla. And the good thing was yesterday when she said she doesn't always like me either. That was really nice. So, yeah, what's the major trigger points?
For you?
Yeah, in Kyla.
Well, you are contrasting people, don't you think?
Yeah.
You're opposites?
Yeah. Isn't that good?
You think it's good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just it?
That's all it is.
Okay, so what's the next question?
Well, we would like you to think of that.
Okay, could I think about it and then come back?
Sure.
Okay.
Mark, would you like to redeem yourself? Come on. You have nothing?
Astrid didn't have anything when she went up there, neither did I.
I'll dovetail and ask it.
Excellent.
Thanks, Mom. You wanted to do this, and I wouldn't let you, and I just broke it. I'm disorganized. What am I perfectly disorganized? Okay, so Astrid and I had that talk because after our one-on-one session, I felt like between the tethered thing, I was feeling a lot of guilt and not enjoying myself either because I was not allowing myself. And with the tethered and with Astrid's talk, I finally really at my core felt what it feels like to allow. And when I first got here, I worry about everyone. I worry that Rose is not feeling well. I worry that it's a long walk for Drew. I worry that Johnny's being quiet. I would just worry about everybody. And now it's like, it's okay because I'm going to allow Rose to be Rose, the most perfect Rose ever. I'm going to allow Drew to be the most perfect Drew ever, just as she is. And that felt so wonderful to feel what it really felt like to allow.
And now can you allow Wendy to be the most perfect Wendy?
Yes, she is getting there. And I'm stopping saying, I'm sorry. Like this, like, I'm waking you up. Sorry. Oh, no, I'm not sorry. I want to be authentic. And having Kyla as my roommate has been the most wonderful tool for me to be me and allow her to be her. Because we are polar opposites with the neatness and not, but I'm not that neat. I'm perfectly disorganized.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So the perfection is who everyone is in the moment.
Right.
And the only dissonance is how you think they should be in that moment.
Right.
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 So if you can allow everyone to be who they are being, then you don't bring up any resistance towards them.
Right.
And so then there's no wobble between the two of you.
Yeah.
But specifically, it's you.
Right.
It's the only thing that you care about.
Right.
So if you can release your attachment to how everyone else feels, then you can just focus on what you want to feel. And then you'll be inspired to talk to Astrid, or to talk to anyone when they need it, or just to have fun and look around and just to allow everyone to do what they are without needing to control the situation.
Right.
And when you can give up that control over how everyone else is feeling, and only work on how you feel, and give up the control of how you feel, because all you have to do is feel how you feel anyway, right?
Right.
And then if you can notice that you have this fear, this worry, that someone will be unpleasant and will reflect on you, like you should have done something, right? And you can just allow them to do whatever they do, doesn't matter.
Right.
Right? Detach yourself from them whatsoever and focus on you, and that is non-resistant. And if you're non-resistant, then everything works out for you.
Yes. And
everything comes.
There's been so many little manifestation events that have happened and popped up, and I've been able to say, I allow it to be as it is. I'm staying in the moment. And that was a big thing too. I really got being in this moment. Now I'm in this moment. Now I'm in this moment. And I've really been able to feel that. And I've really been able to grasp, you tell me my passion and my purpose is love. And I've really been able to grasp that's acceptance of all things.
Love and acceptance are the same thing.
Yes. Yes. And I used to think it was physical love, which I also love to hug and touch and all of that. But I can also just accept whatever. Like yesterday when Kyla wanted to stay at the beach, my first reaction was, oh my God, I love her. If something happens to her, I'll never forgive myself. And then it was like, oh my God, I love her. She's an amazingly strong, confident woman. She will be fine. This is wonderful. Yay, Kyla. You know?
So then you have that fear that something could happen to Kyla. And it's not that anything happens to Kyla.
It's how I'm going to feel.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Which
so
I know
you
now.
detach what happens to Kyla from how you feel.
Right.
So then you say, well, if she misses a boat, then she'll work it out, and it'll be fine, and it doesn't have anything to do with me, and this would be a manifestation event for her, it'd be part of her process. We know that no matter what happens, it's going to be good, it's going to be okay, it has nothing to do with me at all, I'm not responsible at all I'm responsible for is how I feel.
Yep.
And if you can be responsible for how you feel, then you can allow everyone to be how they are, and then you can be non-resistant, go with the flow, everything you want will come to you, and all the migraines will go away. So there's no need for them.
Right.
Migraines are just showing up to show you how resistant you are.
Right. Right. And Kyla shared a wonderful term with me, calm excitement. And at first, I couldn't grasp it. And then I started really thinking about it and internalizing. And it's just this calm excitement. It's joy at its purest form. And it's amazing.
So joy isn't just jumping up and down
Right.
and screaming and being happy. Joy is being relaxed, reading,
Content.
interest, contentment,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mild excitement,
Yeah.
anticipation.
Yeah.
It's all part of that.
Yeah.
And that is above the line. So when you're in that calm excitement, then you can receive a match of thoughts that come to that, and then
Right.
work.
And now when I dip below the line, I'm totally aware I'm dipping, and I can say, okay, do I want to dip? No, I want to go back up. And how do I go back up? Well, I think positive thoughts, or I think of them being Mark's being the best Mark he can possibly be. Isn't that wonderful?
You realize that the fear is irrational.
Right.
That nothing is going to happen to Kyla, and it'll all work out, and it always does. And this Kyla deciding to stay at the beach was for you
Thank you.
and anyone else who was worried. It was
Yeah.
for them, so that
Yeah.
they could rationally say in their head, there's no reason to be worried. Let's just enjoy what we're doing now.
Right.
Enjoy this beautiful ride back
Right.
to the city.
And it had to be Kyla because I feel very mothering towards Kyla. So it's like with my boys who are all over, and I have no control over that.
Like if it was Mark, you wouldn't give a shit.
No, he's figure it out. Figure it out, dude. Come on. No, I was just, to me, that represented letting go of my boys and the loving. When I thought of her as being a confident, independent young woman, I can think of them as being confident, independent young men. Simple.
And they are.
And they are. They are. Everybody else says they are. It's just me and allowing myself to be really, I felt like they defined me, but no, I define me.
You were just the porthole from which they emerged.
Yes. And I feel I'm thrilled that I got to be the porthole.
That's right.
It was a lot of fun.
And your responsibility ends at that.
Porthole. Porthole. You said portal, I said porthole. Tomatoes.
Now we get it.
Now we get it. Good. Good. Thank you.
All right, who's inspired for another question?
Step to the seat.
Yay. Welcome.
Hello.
How does the seat feel?
Okay. I want you to know, Joshua, I'm a very private person, so it's very difficult to do this.
Well, we compliment you for your bravery.
Two questions. Well, one question we were discussing was, in other dimensions, the law of attraction, is that part of that dimension? So
Universal.
we have to learning this, keep doing this?
This is like water aerobics. In physical reality, it's dense. When you want something, you have to really focus on it. And then the fear is a component of that. So you have the fear is the resistance to it. Without fear, anything you wanted would manifest instantly. So the fear is resistance to it. And that's okay. In non-physical, there's no fear, so there's no resistance, so anything you want manifests instantly. Except you can't create desires that way, right? Because you can't go through contrast. Contrast creates the desires. So you get to come and play here, go through contrast, create desires that we all get to revel in. The desire for us to come forward and to speak to you, without that desire, we would not be here. Someone came up with that desire. We blame Lily. And from that desire, we came forth through the path of least resistance, which happened to be Gary. And so, as you sift and sort, create desires, manifest 99.99999% of everything you want, you have this wonderful life, you live in a wonderful place, you have wonderful freedom and abundance, you have all this stuff going on that's wonderful, and you created every bit of it through birthing desires. And you get to explore it anyway. And at this point, right now in your life, you can choose something different, and then you can manifest that. You can literally be, have, and do anything you want in this reality as you are now without changing a thing about yourself. You can do it all. The only thing that's limiting you is fear. But that's okay. That's okay. You had a little fear, a little resistance of coming up here and talking, and everyone else here is admiring your bravery for doing that. And you will go back later and you'll have a slightly altered belief about coming up in front of people and talking, and you will be slightly more confident, and you will have a slightly different reality based on this one event. And then you can change anything to do that. Anything you want in the whole world.
Well, my problem is I feel like I've been kind of coasting.
Coasting's fine.
And I have everything I need.
Yeah.
I have abundance. I have a lot of friends. But am I missing my life's purpose somewhere along the line?
We think you are fulfilling your life's purpose. Yeah. Everything you want is easy. Everything you want is gained by coasting. Nothing ever should be difficult. You should just go with the flow of what you want. Now, if there's something burning that you desire, well, then you can head off in that direction. But you don't do anything. You allow it to come to you. If you don't have a burning, serious desire for something, that means that you are just calmly coasting downstream through life, enjoying what you're enjoying, and receiving all that comes to you. And all that has come to you is wonderful. Now, if you get to a point and say, I want to move to Italy and grow tomatoes, then that might be a desire. Then you think about doing that, and you think about the fears of that, and you overcome those fears, and you plan for that, and that might be something that you manifest.
But if you don't create a fear, are you not moving forward?
You're always moving forward. You cannot move forward. You can either move forward by paddling upstream, you're still moving forward, or you can relax, turn the boat around, and roll downstream. And then if you bump up against a little rock, you can just move around it rather than trying to jackhammer it out of the way. Right? Move around it, coast downstream, allow everything to come to you. And then if you get a little bored and you think, I need to do something exciting, then you can say, I love my life the way it is. I appreciate everything I have, but this idea came to me, and I want to think about that idea. And let's see if we can manifest that. And if that comes up, you manifest it, whether that's dinner with friends, or a nice cruise with friends, or anything else you think you can want. You can get that. And like coming on this cruise, you might have had a little fear. What if I don't like the people? What if I feel seasick? What if it costs too much? All this stuff, right? But you push through it, and are you having a good time?
Yes, I am.
There you go. Are you glad you came?
Yes, I am.
There you go. You'll remember this for the rest of your life. And here you are, speaking to infinite intelligence. How lucky you are.
Okay.
Incredible. Excellent. Good.
Your turn, Mimi. Yeah. They made me do it.
Here comes Mimi.
Thank you. Hi, Joshua.
Welcome.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here.
Thank you for being here.
I'd like to know why we exist.
Why we exist?
Mm-hmm.
We have always existed.
Expand on that.
Why you as a human, as Mimi in this incarnation exists? You came here to explore something specific.
Okay.
What was that you came here to explore?
I feel it's familial.
You came here to explore a family?
Family.
What about the dynamics of family did you come here to explore?
I just feel it. I'm not sure. I just feel like...
Well, what is interesting about family to you?
I'm not sure.
Is it fear, or is it love and acceptance? Or is it a combination?
I think it's a combination.
Right. So imagine being able to explore the dynamics of a family where you think that you're supposed to love them, and yet you think they should be different than they are at the same time. And if only they were a little bit different than they are, like if they loved you for who you were, or if you could love them for who they were, then everything would be fine, and you'd feel good. And if they could just be different, then you could feel good. Right?
What do you mean?
Well, is there anything about anyone in your family that you have an issue with? Or do you love and accept them completely as they are without wanting them to be different in any way, shape, or form?
I accept them for who they are.
You totally accept them for who they are. Do you accept them for how they accept you or don't accept you?
I've come to accept that.
Well, as you come to it, that's what you're here for. to figure out how to accept yourself in their eyes, right? Because what they think doesn't really matter. It's just a reflection of what you think they think, and how you perceive that to be an important factor or a non-important factor whatsoever. There are people who do not care what their family think of them. And there are people who are completely consumed about what their family thinks about them. And there are people who manipulate their family by being what their family wants them to be and not being their authentic self. And this is true of Asian cultures in general, isn't it? Would most Asian parents want their children to be doctors or cooks?
I don't think it really would matter.
Well, it's just a cultural thing, right?
Right.
And so there are high-performing, in that culture,
It is
children.
high-performing.
And the children are manipulating their parents to love them, just as the parents are manipulating their children to do what they think is right for them to do. But none of them are being authentic about it, right? And then you get the authentic people who can bust out of that dynamic and be who they want to be, whether it's a plumber or a chef or anything, and realize that they have to be who they are, and they have to accept that their parents want them to be different than they are, but that's just the culture,
Right.
And so that's one dynamic that you came to explore, but there's other dynamics as well. Your power, right? Your intuitive ability, your ability to recognize what's going on with people, things like that, which is your passion, right? And it's something that you have great confidence in. And have you always had great confidence in it, or you built that up along the way?
I built it up.
Yeah. And isn't that a fun thing? You didn't have to be perfect from the day one. You got to practice and get better and stronger and more confident. And as you did that, your reality changed, so that you began attracting people who are here right now because they believe in you, because you have such confidence that your confidence inspires them to allow themselves to heal because they believe in you. Entire bodies have changed because of their belief in what you offer. So it's an amazing thing that you came here to explore.
I see.
Yeah.
So you answered my other question. Thank you.
We had an inkling. We had a guess. Yeah.
Another question is the disease cancer. It's such a huge money-making disease that it just seems like there's barely a cure for it. And what is that all about?
All physical unwanted conditions, all of them, are resistance. Okay. Except when people are making their way out. They can make their way out through a car crash, or they can make their way out through cancer. If they choose to make their way out through cancer, then they get all this time to be loved and supported and say goodbye. And then by the time they die, the family who's left behind will all say they're in a better place. It was good. The person who gets hit by a car doesn't get to say goodbye. It's just gone, just vanishes. And then those people left behind are struggling to see how this could happen to him. But he didn't have to go through the side effects of the cancer and the treatment and what everyone thinks about it, So there's a benefit to having the cancer, and there's a benefit to getting hit by a car. Mm-hmm. It's good either way. Now, if someone has a chronic situation that they want to heal, well, that's all like Wendy's migraines were. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Once the resistance was gone, the symptom of the migraine was the message to her that she's approaching life in a way that's resistant. Mm. Her emotions told her this the whole time, but she ignored them the whole time. Okay, so you keep ignoring the emotions, and then you will get something else. In her case, it was migraines. It could be a frozen shoulder like Lily has. It could be, itchiness. It could be rashes. It could be acne. It could be all these different little chronic things, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so if you can not treat the symptom, but treat the underlying issue, which is always resistance to what is. It's resistance to what is. Okay. What is has to be perfect. Because if it's this moment, if it's created right now, there's nothing you can do about it. It's here. And if you can't change this moment, then you have to call it perfect. Just like we said the other day, if you see a work of art and you wouldn't change anything about it, you call it perfect.
Okay, I'm getting it.
If you see this present moment, you can't change it. The only thing you can do is call it perfect, right?
Okay.
And if you see it as perfect, well, then you can see why it is there. The migraines are an indication to us that there's resistance. We work on the resistance, and the migraines go away. And when the resistance comes back, a little migraine will come back. And then when you will know, okay, I've been resisting this, my sons are moving away. I think that's a bad thing, not a good thing. I'm resisting them moving away. And then the migraines come and say, don't resist that. That is a wonderful thing. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So now how can you ease the resistance in your patients?
Realize their resistance.
Realize it's not the physical symptoms,
it's not the physical,
but there's other energies going on in there, right? And it's all the influence. The cells are influenced by the inner stress and conflict caused by stress. So the stress is that I'm not good enough. Nobody will love me if this goes wrong. I could lose this. I need to be good. Otherwise, I have to be different than I am so that I don't get in an argument with my mate. These sort of things, right? Right. And it's this chronic belief system that causes chronic health issues. Yeah. And then somebody gets cancer, and they're saying, this is my farewell. I'm ready to go and get on to the next life, but I want to say goodbye.
Okay, so that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's perfect.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. Okay. And if they choose to stay, Gary's best friend Greg had near terminal cancer in his 30s. And he had just gotten married, and he was living a resistant life, thinking he was unworthy, and the trauma of that near-death experience caused him to realize how good he had it, and how good he was, and how loved he was, and how many people supported him. So the cancer went away. And he believed that in order for it to go away, he had to go near death. He had to have severe treatments. He had to have the worst pain he could imagine, because he believed it had to be hard for him to survive. It didn't have to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You just had to realize it.
And cancer pops up and goes away. Pops up and goes away.
Yes, it
pops
does.
up and
That's
goes
true.
away. Everything does.
True.
Yeah. And if you don't know that you have it, then it goes away by the time everything happens. Yeah.
Okay, one more question. Gary had mentioned that he had, when he first started experience Joshua, he felt like there was something attached to him.
A presence.
Or a presence.
Inside, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of feel that way too. So what is that?
It's a way to get your attention.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
It's really gotten my attention.
Yeah, so talk to it.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, because what it will sound like is you talking back to you. And so everyone discounts that. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's just me talking back to myself. Mm-hmm. Ask a question, get the instant answer, and say, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Is that something I would say? That's just this infinite intelligence that's available to everyone, and it's getting your attention.
Okay.
And you are really in tune with it anyway.
I am.
Do you notice that when you're working in patients, that you have no stumble in speech?
It's
easy. It's easy.
Very easy.
You know what's happening. You know what's going on.
But when it comes to me, it's different. It's different. But when I'm working with people, it's easy.
Mm-hmm. Just a difference in beliefs. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exciting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Who does not want to ask a question? Raise your hand.
Careful now.
Oh, no one's falling for that? Janine, would you like to ask a question? Diane.
All right. I have a different kind of a question. I like to go outside at night and I like to watch the stars. And the stars will move and they do all different colors and they're planets. I always feel like my family, I have family out there in these stars. well, I feel like I want to see this family. Am I going to be able, in this body, in this lifetime, am I going to meet the family of the stars?
So, tell us about this family. This family is...
I always feel that's where I'm comfortable. I'm out by the stars. I always feel comfortable. I always feel love, and I always feel like they're there.
And you want them to come into physical form.
Am I going to see them? Am I going to see any of them in physical form?
It's entirely possible.
Okay.
In this reality, you can be, do, and have anything you want. Anything you want. So if you want them, do you have any fear about seeing them in physical form?
No.
Okay. Do you believe you can see them in physical form?
Yes.
So why aren't you seeing them in physical form?
I didn't know.
Because there's some fear.
Okay.
There's always a limitation of fear. Without fear, anything you want would manifest instantly. Right? Because for you to see them in physical form in front of you, well, you don't know what that would look like. Would that be an alien? Would it be a ghost? Would it be an actual person? Would it be an imagination? Would you be crazy? Would other people think you're crazy? There's all these baseline fears in the back of your head. And as you work through them and realize they can be anything you want, you are safe. You can choose whatever you want. There's nothing that can hurt you. Everything that happens in this reality is always for you. There's never anything that can happen to you. You realize that you're not victims of fate. There is no fate. There is no luck. There are no coincidences. Everything is created from you, from inside. You are self-contained. Whatever you want can come from you, will come from you. There's nothing you have to change other than beliefs, and beliefs are this thought form that's either based in fear or based in love. You believe that Sam is a wonderful man. That is a beneficial belief. You might believe that Sam should have more hair than he does. That is a limiting belief. You can't change that, right? So you have this mix of beneficial beliefs and limiting beliefs. And the limiting beliefs are limiting. The beneficial beliefs are empowering. If you reduce the intensity of these limiting beliefs, then you will get more of what you want. But it's tricky to know what belief is limiting or not. It's tricky to sit here and say, and itemize all your limiting beliefs. That's why you encounter things like manifestation events. And the manifestation event is seeing a star move for you, right? It's a safe way for you to know that there's something else going on here, right?
Yeah.
You feel that it's a family, right? And that feeling is a love-based feeling, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
So that's another empowering belief. Now, wanting more than that, we'll have to overcome some limiting beliefs. And that's all it is. And so, as you talk about that and show your video to people, and other people see what you see, and other people don't think you're crazy, you know, and loving people like this, embrace this idea of what you can see, then it's a little bit less limiting. And now you can see more, and more things will come. And maybe at one point, if you can overcome all the fear and the limiting beliefs, you might see something there. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I've had family members come in, and I've seen several family members, you know, like as a group at different times. They were there.
In the room with you?
They came in the room.
Did they move around?
No.
They were just...
They were there. Okay? And like, you know, they came in an order, and they're there. My mom was ill. And then when I realized that it was like they were gone.
Well, they're here now, and you could see them now, right? And this whole room is filled with them. And by allowing yourself to see them, by not having a limited belief, but the moment you noticed it and thought, this is strange, that's when it disappeared. There's certain things about physical reality that are comfortable, that you believe in, that this boat somehow is floating on top of the water, right? That we are moving from some destination to another destination, that the sky is blue and there's people gliding across the sky. And that's tangible, real stuff. And then there's some stuff that you know that you've seen before, and Deborah Jo's seen before, and you don't know what that is, because it's not like a picture
Oh,
on the wall.
I felt very comfortable.
You felt comfortable until you thought this was strange. The second you thought it was strange, even if it was subconsciously,
Probably.
right?
Okay.
That's when it left away. Right.
I felt a peace.
Yeah.
It was
because
it
is
was a peace. It wasn't like they were coming for my mother. It was like when my mother crossed over, they would be there for her.
Exactly. And that's the belief that you had.
That's how I felt.
So it perfectly matched up with what you already believed.
Okay.
The one thing that didn't match up was them appearing to you as they are.
Right.
As imagine if these seats were filled with your family right now,
right.
It would seem a little strange.
It might seem a little strange.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the less you think that's strange, the easier it is for you. If you talk to certain people who can see ghosts, to them it's not strange. They just hear it, they understand it, they can converse it. And
so the more open I am to it,
the more open you are to everything,
then the more open I'll be to more experiences.
The more open you are to what we have to say, the more you're going to believe what we have to say. And the more that you believe what we have to say, the more you'll hear what we have to say. So in this conversation right now, some people are getting 90% of what we're saying. Some people are getting 5% of what we're saying. When we put this on the internet and you listen to it later, your vibration will have raised to a certain level, and you will be vibrating at a little bit higher level, and you will hear more of what we have to say. And that will open up some beliefs, and then something else will catch your attention. And if that desire for the light in the sky to be physical presence in front of you continues, you'll be led to this and this and this and this and this, and it'll seem less strange and care less what people think and that sort of thing. And then it could manifest because you could literally be, do, or have anything you want in this reality, and there is nothing that's impossible. Non-physical, you can manifest anything you can think of instantly. Physical, you can do the same thing. Non-physical, there's no fear. Physical, there's fear. Without the fear, everything manifests. So the only reason something's not manifesting is the fear. For you to be a vibrational match to something that you do not have, you're going to have to reduce the intensity of the fear. Now, the thing about being physical is that you can't remove the fear. You can just make it small enough so that you can get up the courage to ask that person out on a date, to ask for a job, to go on a trip, to do whatever it is that you physically manifest while you're here. There's a lot of people who didn't go on this cruise because they had the fear of whatever it was. Lily did not go on this cruise, even though it would have been free for her to go, because she had the fear of someone taking care of the dog, the fear of someone running the business, and the fear of getting seasick. So she couldn't manifest this because of fear. Get over the fear, and you can manifest anything.
So when I go outside and I tell my husband, beam me up, Scotty. If I'm not back, honey, you know where I went.
Yeah.
he'll know.
He'll know, but you have a fear of losing him.
Oh.
Right? But you're eternally attached.
Oh, we are.
You can never lose each other.
Oh.
You can never lose anyone you know.
Okay.
You can never lose your worst enemy.
Oh.
Because in non-physical, your worst enemy is your best friend. They're only coming here to play roles as your worst enemy, right? And that dynamic that you get to play with. And then when you get back to non-physical, you're like, wasn't that fun when I did that to you and you did that to me and we got to do that, feel what that was like and feel that hatred, and now we feel this love for each other in new ways that we never felt before? Did we just blow your mind?
Yes. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So everyone's here for you. Everything's happening for you. It's fun. Nothing serious is going on here, except for this conversation right now.
Okay. All right. Something I never really thought about.
Do you know that you don't make up your own thoughts? You don't create your own thoughts in your head?
Who's creating them?
All thoughts exist. You attract the thoughts. So that means you have access to all thoughts and all ideas. And you tap into that access through desire. You have the desire for the stars to move, they move. If you have the belief, they move.
They do.
If you have the desire for them to show up physically, for those stars to be in your bedroom at night, instead of having to be outside, they can be in your bedroom. If you have that desire, and that doesn't scare you.
It won't scare me.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Thank you.
Thank
Sam,
you.
we're together forever, lady. He's back there. No.
Yay!
We love your necklace. Is that new?
Sort of, for me, yeah. From a friend, so not really new, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, face to face, so to speak. Been feeling you very strongly. Thank you very much for that.
Excellent.
And a lot of stuff going on, a lot of work, a lot for everybody. You can't hear me? So, for me, this is very personal, what I'm going to ask you about. As I've been going along my path, it's been about energy and learning, and that's what inspires me.
That's what you're interested in.
Yeah, I'm very interested in evolution and how we're getting there and how we're changing on every level, spiritually, physically, and how all that works together. And it seems like I'll go for long spurts, and then it's like
long spurts of what?
Of learning and energy and moving forward, and then there'll be some dry spells, and it's gotten where it's hard to really find that next place of touch in. And so the last time I really desired it and asked for it, I was in London, and I just knew there was a download for me there. So we were there 3 or 4 days, and what happens is the very day we're getting ready to fly out, I pass out to get the download. So it's like, this is very inconvenient. And so
when you pass out to get a download in an inconvenient time, don't you believe the download's so much more important?
Well, I didn't have a problem with that.
Right.
I had the problem with the guy trying to make me come back before I was finished with my conversation.
Yeah.
But the point is, I don't want it to be that way.
So it doesn't have to be that way.
But it scares me, and it has scared me. And so at times it makes me hold back from growing.
Right. Because you have this idea that for infinite intelligence to flow through you, that it needs to be something physically happening to you. There needs to be a big thing. It can't be just a thought.
Oh, no. I disagree. Because
just a little tiny thought.
That happens all the time. I have what I call teams, just like Joshua.
You have your millions?
Yeah. And them, I hear, that's not the I do believe what you're saying. But I mean, that is the way it is.
And then you think,
but I don't understand why I think I have to have the big event.
Right. Maybe you can ask Kyla.
Oh, good.
Kyla gets the big event too. Because to her, the big event means something. The bigger it is, the more dramatic it is, the more meaningful it is, the more of a crossroads. I just moved through this door. This is a new area. Okay. It's obvious, right? Okay. It's not a little bit every day, a little bit every day, a little bit every day, smooth, easy, smooth. It's build up, build up, build up, build up, take off like a rocket and get to a new level. And then build up, build up, build up. Because that taking off like a rocket is a big thing. And it makes it seem like what's happening is really important now. If it happened slowly every day, slowly every day, getting better and better and better every day, right? Getting more confident every day, getting better at receiving the information every day. This is how Gary does it. He gets a little bit better every day. No big things. It was never a really big thing.
And that's how I started.
Yeah,
obviously, to be able to get to that point.
But the big things, you like the big things.
But what's making me want to have that such a dramatic?
Because for you, the belief is that if it's a dramatic thing, it's a big thing. It's not just a little.
Okay. So it doesn't interest me for the little things anymore. I want
the big things, right? So this is your way of manifesting the big things.
Okay.
Kyla's way of manifesting the big things. This cruise, she knew something big was going to happen. And something big happened for her. And, and it was emotional. And that's just how she likes it. That's just one way of doing it. And it's just as good as any other way. But nothing has to be hard. Everything can be easy. You don't have to make anything hard. It can all be easy if you want. If you like the drama, then you like the drama. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's fun sometimes. And you get to be the center of attention. And people get to fuss over you. Yeah.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's really bad.
Well, yeah, but it's always a memory, isn't it? Yeah.
I was thinking about Astrid here. I thought as I was coming up, I'm sure I have a lot of resistance for some of that because I was thinking, okay, I can hear me saying it now. I'm just like Astrid. I would like another answer, please. But no, I get it. But so to actually change that, the best thing for me to do is to, in my belief that I have a team that helps me all.
And you're getting a download every time you go to sleep. So think of your dream as a download. Think of every time you go to sleep, the human part of you is still here. The non-physical part of you goes off back into non-physical reality to recharge. You don't sleep to rest.
Right.
You're resting right now when you're sitting. You're resting when you're watching TV or reading a book. You don't sleep to rest. You sleep so the non-physical part of you can go back to non-physical and sort out what happened during the day and sort out the energy. And the non-physical part of you could be away for 1,000,000 years and come back. You're right. His time is whatever it is. And when it comes back, it's ready for the next day. Until you wake up and think about the thought you were thinking the night before, And so to break that, you can start by realizing that the dream that you had was your physical perception of what was happening while your non-physical part of you was in the non-physical during the night. And then you can spend some time meditating in the morning and realizing that you had this download, appreciating the download that you got for that night, appreciating all the information that's going to come to you today, appreciating all your millions who are working through you and for you, you're guiding you, and that you give up now the need for these big downloads. That now you are thankful for the downloads that you get, and you know that you're going to get them every day, and you're thankful for all the downloads that you get during the day, and the big downloads are no longer necessary for me. I release those and see how that works.
No, it's working. Thank you.
Wonderful question.
May I have one more question?
I don't know.
We have time for one more. We're all talking about stars and ancestry and all that. I mean, for me, it's like I keep saying we all came from star seeds at some point or other. Because I feel, we were talking at the table last night, and I said I think my starseed ancestry actually helped create the Earth. And I'm sure there's a lot, that did that. But like Diane was saying about going home and that, I feel like I can connect finally to my star home. And I'm not sure what my question is. It's like, okay, I was going to say, is what I'm seeing actually real? But it's like that's for me to decide whether it's real or not. And so it is real for me, and that's my connection. And but you were saying that when we go out of physical into non-physical, we're still in this realm of things.
We're still interested in this plane. You can go anywhere.
I can go what I consider home, and that would maybe have nothing to do with this for a while, or what?
Yes, you can do whatever you want to do. What you're likely to do, because there's the law of continuity, is you're likely to follow that law of continuity that says that I came here as a physical being, I'm interested in the things I was interested in as a physical being, I'm interested in the family and the friends that I had and the work that I was doing, and I get to watch that now and participate with it. And now I get to be the one that brings in the thoughts. And I get to see this person here and bring the thoughts to them. The thoughts that I learned as I was human, and the perspective that I have now from my non-physical higher perspective, I can be bringing those thoughts. And that person you're bringing the thoughts to is rejecting them. This is nonsense, thinking it's their own thoughts, and you keep throwing them in there. And if they're in a low emotional state of being, they don't hear you anyway. And then one day when they're getting excited, they hear the thought and voila, something is created
like
from that.
Like our kids?
Okay. Your kids for sure. Your co-workers who are still here, people in your field in different countries, all over, whatever.
But that is
you're
exciting.
doing. Yeah.
It's exciting to think that you can do that, because I think a lot of us are here doing it, trying to share
What
that
we're here now is taking thoughts from non-physical and giving you our perspective. And then as you hear this perspective, your millions will be sending you thoughts too that resonate. So as we raise your vibration and your ideas and beliefs to another level, you become more receptive to what they're telling you. And this that's available to Gary is available to all of you, and it's happening to all of you. It's just that you're discounting it. You're rejecting it. You're not going with it. You're finding fault with it. You're thinking it's your own thought, which is a problem. Because you think if it's coming from you, it's just a random thought. But if you're in a high emotional state of being and you receive an idea to do something, to go on a cruise, and you instantly feel fear, and then you resolve all that fear. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And that builds confidence that you can do anything. And this confidence is aligned with love. And so as you are more confident, you can do more things. And you can reach a higher vibration. And the way you reach the vibration is through desire. If you're a child and you don't go to school and you become interested in fishing and you catch a fish and you find out, you look at the fish and then you think, what kind of fish is this? Well, then you can go to a book and look at the book and see pictures of that fish, and now your curiosity is raised and there's words underneath, and you'll learn to read like that. Because the desire sparks the interest, and the interest gets you to a vibration where the information is, no matter what it is, anything you want. So think about the desire, think about what you want, and always look towards that which you want, and not trying to change things that you don't think are good, or as in being downloaded at one time. That's not a bad thing, but it's not necessary anymore. Okay. So you don't go saying, I don't want this to happen. You say, what I want is now a more smooth download of information. Right? Always think about what you want, not what you don't want.
Yeah. So don't tell them that I want it all and I want it right now, right? Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much.
What a wonderful question. Thank you.
I loved when you said that when we come back, when we're gone.
You're never gone.
When we're no longer physical, I will be still interested in.
You'll be interested in this group.
That made me super emotional, but I was just so excited and happy to hear that. Mm-hmm. So I was really pleased about that. And I'm also, my millions are speaking a lot more to me. And it's all just very simple. It's, we love you, it's okay, etc. So I'm really grateful for that, and that's happening on this cruise. So I had two questions. One was, when I meditate, whether it's in a group or whether it's by myself, I often find myself humming to myself, just sort of a and I'm wondering why. Is it just because it's soothing?
There's a vibration of that humming that resonates with your level of thought at the time. And so it's not just soothing, it's a match to it, it's compatible with it, it makes it easier, it's automatic, it's being given to you. There's a whole range of vibrations like that. So for you, it helps you maintain clarity of focus on that. Might be something you want to do in times of stress.
I think I have started using it.
So hum it, do you hum it to yourself silently, or do you do it out loud?
It makes a sound. It's like,
Can you do it louder? Can you do it louder than that? So if your boss comes to you and asks you for something, can you do it to him?
I'd probably do it a lot more quietly. That's what I want to break through. I'd like to be able to do but it's little steps. I like to do the little steps.
You don't like the major downloads?
No. No, I like just hearing, you are loved, we're here, we're your millions, everything's okay.
Yes. So, isn't that an interesting thing about time? That you have this passion for what we're doing here, that you were one of the first to do it. You were one of the first to share it, right? You are, what Gary said, was one of the supporters, one of the backers, one of the founders. And that you were able to come up with so many questions over a long period of time. Yet so often, you thought, why aren't I getting it faster? How come these other people get it faster than me? Which is all a silly judgment, because the time doesn't matter, because you're having fun doing it, right? And you're building this huge base of energy that's available for everyone else too, especially around abundance, which is the most asked subject that there is. And now there's this plethora of invaluable information that you caused to come into physical reality, all from you. And how wonderful that is. Thank God you didn't get it right away.
Yeah.
Can you imagine after question 4, I got it, I'm done.
Bye.
Here we have volumes. You get a Kate Volume 1, Kate Volume 2, Kate Volume 2. Kate, the troubled months.
Yeah.
So we appreciate what you have given to this subject in this community that will live on while you're looking down from above and you'll say, hey, this kid is reading my question number 397.
Yes.
Pretty
Go
amazing.
back to 95.
You should be reading 95.
The other question I had was about sleep, because you've just mentioned it, and a lot of people have slept average on this cruise. Some days good, some days bad. I've heard Abraham say that sleep is not, maybe I've misunderstood, but not necessary. We can rest during meditation, etc. But you have said that we need it because it becomes so dense in this physical plane that we need to just escape from it. And I'm just trying to, I get that. I'm so proud of myself when I have a good night of natural sleep. I mean, I'm proud of myself. And I'm just wondering how to create more belief in the fact that it's easy to have natural sleep and to get that natural sleep, or to survive, not die without sleep.
So, would you say that a baby sleeps more or less than an elderly person?
More.
Because when a baby comes into this environment, it's so dense that the non-physical part of the baby needs more, we will say the word time for lack of a better word, time in non-physical, getting adjusted to it. And the older person, has been here longer and needs less time because they're more adjusted to it. And as you get older, you tend to need less sleep. And the more stressed out you are, the more conflict there is in there. And so you tend to wake up and go right back to those thoughts of stress. You would notice that if you were raising sheep in a farm in the south of France, living in this beautiful countryside with no expectations upon you, with no judgment upon you, you'd sleep like you did when you were 12 or 10. And so what Gary does is he defines his life by what is fun to do in the moment and eliminates as much stress as he can out of it. So there's fewer expectations of what he has to do, more fun, more doing what he wants to do in the moment, and maintaining a certain rhythm. So he goes to sleep at a certain time, to say midnight, and he says, before he goes to sleep every night, I intend to fall asleep. I intend to go to the non-physical and sort out everything that happened today. I intend to download this in a pleasant way so that I feel good when I wake up. I intend to wake up, which is important, don't miss that one. And I intend to be refreshed and to come in feeling good. And to sleep like he did when he was 14 or 12, or a teenager. And so since he's been doing that, his sleep is much more consistently like that. He's eliminated all the distractions. There's no TV in the bedroom. There's no alarm clocks. Nothing waking him up. You have this idea that you have to be awake at a certain time. You are sort of nervous about that when you go to sleep every night. You tend to sleep better probably on the weekends, right? Because there's this idea that you have to be up. So we suggest for you specifically, don't go into the office till around noon anymore.
Yes, I thought you might.
And it only worked till about 3.
Yeah, and then plan the next step, the next job.
The next job. Right. Just buy some Bitcoin now and you'll be fine.
I was thinking of that as you were talking about it. I was like, I need to get a Bitcoin, at least one.
One Bitcoin.
One Bitcoin.
Yep. In 1,000 years, it'll be worth $1 million.
And I'll be able to download and tell people where it is. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, we feel there's tremendous energy in this room. And there's more calmness and relaxed and easygoing and fun. And we are thrilled to be a part of it. And we have one more of these, so we don't want to use up all your questions. So go forward for the rest of the day. Have as much fun as you can. Do what you're inspired to do. Don't think of how other people are perceiving you, because none of that matters. You are perfect as you are in this moment. There's not one thing you need to change about yourself to be better than you are. There's not one thing you can do to change yourself to be better than you are. You are perfect as you are, exactly as you are. And what anyone else thinks, you're just making that up anyway, because you're not mind readers. You can't read what they're saying, and even if you could, it wouldn't matter. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. So imagine yourself as perfect and have as much fun as you can in the perfection that is you. And with that, we are complete.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Joshua Live. If you have a question you would like Joshua to answer on the show, send us a message on Facebook at www.facebook.com/teachingsofjoshua. As always, remember that you are loved more than you can imagine by more than you could ever count. We'll see you next time.